Rational numbers. A rational number can be made by dividing two integers. Most numbers we use in everyday life are rational numbers. 1.5 is a rational number because 1.5 equals 3 upon 2. Rational numbers are numbers that can be written as P upon Q, where P and Q are integers. What does this mean? This means any fraction, or whole number, that is any number with 1 as its denominator. There are numbers that cannot be written in the form P upon Q. These are called irrational numbers. Like the number pi, that is 3.14159265358979323846264, and it goes on. As pi cannot be written as a fraction, it is an irrational number. Operations on fractions. Adding or subtracting fractions. When adding or subtracting fractions, we need to look at the denominators of both the numbers. If they are same as shown in the example, 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 4. On a diagram this can be shown as, it is easy to see here that the answer is 2 upon 4, which can easily be simplified to 1 upon 2. So what we did was simply add the numerator and leave the denominator by itself. However, this is only done when the denominators are same. So, what do we do when the denominators are different? For example, 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 2. Again, we can solve this with the help of a diagram. Looking at the diagram, we can easily say the answer is 3 upon 4. We can solve this without a diagram also. When the denominators are different, we take their LCM. We learned how to take out the LCM of two numbers in our previous video. First we list both the numbers in the table shown. Then we divide both the numbers by the smallest prime number. In this case it is 2. Now we have 2 and 1 left. As both are prime numbers, we stop here. To calculate the LCM, just multiply these prime numbers. 2 times 2 times 1 is 4. Once the LCM is calculated, both the denominators are made equal to the LCM. The first one is already 4. To make the second one also 4, we multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2. Once both the denominators are same, we just add the numerator. The same method is used in subtraction. For example, 3 upon 5 minus 1 upon 5. Both the denominators are same, so we simply subtract the numerator and keep the denominators same. The question is solved diagrammatically also. However, if 3 upon 5 is subtracted from 1 upon 3, the denominators are different. First, the LCM of 5 and 3 is taken. As both 5 and 3 are prime numbers, the LCM would be 5 times 3. That is 15. Now to change the denominators to 15, the first fraction is multiplied by 3 and the second fraction is multiplied by 5. Now we have 9 upon 15 minus 5 upon 15. As the denominators are same, we simply subtract the numerators. 4 upon 15 is the answer.
In this video, we're going to learn the basics about how to add fractions. Now, a lot of math books will teach you how to add fractions before they teach you how to multiply them. But here at MathAntics, we think you should learn the other way around. You remember how easy it is to multiply fractions, right? You just multiply the top numbers together, and you multiply the bottom numbers together, and you have your answer. So you might be wondering, well, can't we just do that with addition too? Can't we just add the top numbers together and add the bottom numbers together and get our answer? Well, all right, let's try it and see, but I got a bad feeling about this. Let's try adding 1/2 to 1/2. So if we added the top numbers, we'd get 2, and if we added the bottom numbers, we'd get 4. But, well, that can't be right, because 2 over 4 simplifies to 1/2. And if you add 1/2 and 1/2, you should get a whole, not a half. Uh-oh, we must have broke some sort of math rule. I'm out of here. Okay, here's what we did wrong. It turns out that there's some important math rules called order of operations that say you have to do multiplication and division before you do addition and subtraction. Now, because fractions are just division problems, if you just added the top numbers and added the bottom numbers, you'd be breaking those rules because you would be doing the addition before the division. So, what are we going to do instead? Well, fortunately, there's a trick that lets us work around the order of operation rules and add fractions without dividing. But there's a catch. It only works for fractions that have the same bottom numbers. The trick is, if fractions have the same bottom numbers, we can add them by just adding the top numbers together and keeping the same bottom number in our answer. For example, to add 1/2 and 1/2, we just add the top numbers, and 1 plus 1 gives us 2. But we don't add the bottom numbers. We just use the same bottom number in the answer, which is 2. So 2 over 2 is a whole fraction. And that makes sense because if you add 1/2 and 1/2, you get a whole. Let's see a few more examples. Like this one, 5 over 16 plus 2 over 16. Again, since the bottom numbers are the same, it's easy to add these fractions. All we do is add the top numbers together. 5 plus 2 equals 7, and that's the top number of our answer. Then we just keep 16 as the bottom number of our answer. So 5 over 16 plus 2 over 16 equals 7 over 16. Pretty easy, huh? But what about subtracting fractions? Does that work the same way? Yep, if the bottom numbers are the same, all you have to do is subtract the top numbers and keep the same bottom number in your answer. Here's an example of subtracting fractions with the same bottom numbers. 5 over 9 minus 2 over 9. First we subtract the top numbers. 5 minus 2 equals 3. Then we just write the same bottom number in our answer, 9. So 5 over 9 minus 2 over 9 is 3 over 9. Yep, adding and subtracting fractions with the same bottom numbers is easy. And there's a special name for problems like this. It's called adding or subtracting like fractions. A teacher once told me that they're called like fractions because the bottom numbers are the same, or alike. But I think it's because they secretly like each other. Just kidding. But seriously, like fractions are easy to add with the trick we just learned. But what happens if you want to add two unlike fractions? What do you do if you have fractions with different bottom numbers? Unfortunately, the only way we can add unlike fractions without doing the division first is to change them so that they do have the same bottom numbers. In other words, we need to change our unlike fractions into like fractions so we can just use our trick. In math language, that's called finding a common denominator. Now remember that a denominator is just a fancy math word for the bottom number of a fraction. And common just means that they're the same. So, how do we find a common denominator so that we can add or subtract unlike fractions? That's what we're going to learn in the next video. But before you move on, be sure to do the exercises for this section. Learn more at MathAntics.com.